Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Taskforce Echo, a StarCraft RPG actual play series. I'm John, your executive producer here at Final Show Films. And I now turn over to our GM for the evening, Wilhelm.
Hello, I am William, and I play the role of the Kaprulu sector in this StarCraft RPG playtest. And I will begin by introducing our player characters, beginning with John.
I'm John, and I'm playing
Golash Primal Zerg.
Every goddamn time.
And Jack.
What do you mean?
Hey everybody, I'm Jack. I play Koronix, the Nerazim Protoss.
And Jeremy.
Got it. I'm Jeremy. I play Dirk. The humans. How does he walk? He's so dumb.
And we're short Cody today, but we also have Aaron.
Hi, I'm Erin, and I'm playing Ava, the Terran medic.
And Sarah.
I'm Sarah, and I just woke up, and I play Rachel, and I'm into fire.
Fire is good. And when last we left the task force, they had just begun to perform a series, I say. It was really one task that was asked of them by the Zerg Queen Kavash in their search for Richter on the world of Char. Kavash had asked them to rid Char of a Zerg creation of another queen, Varix, and sort of this constant machinations of that the Zerg performed to sort of jostle for rank amongst the swarm, improving who is most powerful and efficient. And, you know, they all work together when the swarm calls for it, but when they're apart, they're kind of at each other's throat, just trying to prove who is most worthy and evolve and grow, because that's kind of how Zerg work. They fight so they can grow and become better. Which is bad for people who aren't Zerg when they start fighting other people. But hey. And having done this by taking the Akundalar into the sky and blasting out the Midlings who were the terrain around Varix's volcano, they eventually made their way back and started to move back through the Terran base to reach Kavash again, when in the middle of the base they encountered a group of infested Terrans, and also what appeared to be armored Zerg in the same room that had once held the infested jukebox. And a voice called out, I need to correct myself because I said the wrong thing at the end of the last episode, a voice called out to the group and said specifically to Rachel, "Ah, Sergeant Harmon, I did not expect to see you again." And that is where we begin.
Sorry,
I'm sorry.
Dumb continuity question. Did Rachel ever give a last name, and was that her last name that she gave?
Yes, Rachel has said. Rachel has said her name was Sarah, or sorry, Rachel has said her name was Rachel Horn. I said Sarah for a second.
Sarah has a
Sorry,
last name
thank
too.
you.
It's not Harmon.
No.
Would this be the one called Richter?
And as you look, this individual approaching, the body has changed a lot, as kind of happens with Terran infestation, but the face is unmistakable. The commissarial cap he's still wearing, the long kind of bushy white beard, and that knowing smirk. This is Richter. Richter was your direct commanding officer during your time in the UED. You answered directly to him. He gave you your orders and the squads that you were commanding.
Did I like him?
He was friendly. He was always He was always quick with a joke or to light up your smoke.
But there's some place that he'd rather be.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You don't know. But he was friendly. He was warm, unlike a lot of commanding officers. He was always someone who cared about the people that he commanded and was very careful with his tactical decisions to make sure that he would often try and result in as few casualties as possible because he wanted to see everyone make it back.
And now,
that ended
and
up
now
with
he's
him.
this bad guy.
Ultimately, that ended up with him crashing his battlecruiser with its skeleton crew into a Leviathan to prevent it from killing the significantly larger amount of soldiers on the ground during one major battle.
And now he's the bad guy we're looking for?
Well, now he's a former member of Taskforce Echo that you were looking for.
Yeah, he's not a bad
Oh.
guy. We're just looking for him.
He might be a
I'm
bad
sorry, I'm so confused. There's so many enemies around every corner here.
Now he's the
I'm kinda
infested Terran
confused
that you're
too.
looking for.
I will turn towards him. Good evening. Is it evening? I don't know. No one can tell.
It's Char. Nobody can tell. Yeah.
It's Char time? Alright.
Right.
There is no evening on Char.
What are you doing here, and why are you still alive?
Well, I would preface that I'm not necessarily alive in quite the same manner as I was a few years ago. But here I am.
I lean over to Ava. Did he just say he's dead?
He's an infested Terran. Death and life are complicated in a medical context.
So we're saying he's not a ghost, right? Not that kind of ghost. Other ghosts. Actual ghost.
No, different type of thing. Reanimated via parasitism might be the most accurate and simple way of
Please,
describing
if you're gonna
So
say
zombie?
it, yes, zombie is probably the closest thing you're gonna get for a man like a good.
Ava was being
Exeter.
very quiet. She was not saying that
probably
loudly. I was
why.
saying it
You
loudly.
sense that he
for-
heard you anyway.
Yeah.
That's probably
Psych.
why, because he was.
Well,
Ava
not
almost entirely disregards him.
I'm like, it's okay. I'm a good headshot if needed.
not that I
Cornix is just
reveal-
standing off to the side, leaning on his spear, watching this happen.
Cloaked or not?
He's not cloaked right now, no.
Okay.
Well, not that I ain't overjoyed to see you, but remember that ship that you threw into that thing where you supposedly died? Do you happen to remember who was on that, sir?
Well, about 4 dozen good men who willingly gave their lives to save 10,000 soldiers.
Yeah, and I don't care about 3 and almost 4 dozen, but you did have my brother on that ship with you.
And I apologize for that
Yeah,
one.
that ain't gonna do me nothing now, though, so. Alright, let's kill him.
I look over at
I look
Rachel.
over Coronix.
No.
I'm just kind of shaking my head.
Remember, you're
let's-
not here to kill him.
Let's get what we let's
I
get
mean-
what we need out of him first, right? And then we just, throw him into a volcano or something. Put him out of his misery.
I look
He
over
looks
at Coronix again.
He looks downright uncomfortable.
Cornix,
being all
should we
zombified
be
and whatnot.
Contacting Shauna Briggs now that we've accomplished.
Oh, we don't need Shauna Briggs. We can do the job for her. Just find out what we need to know, and then we just, gently walk him to the edge of a volcano and
The thing
Push him
Commander
right
Richter,
in.
we have the Akundalar, your former ship.
where zombies
Yes.
are not allowed any longer.
Yes, the shit
And at
that I
that
was...
point, there is a very, very quick movement. And there is
Uh-oh.
there is a tip of a plasma spear just at the joint of the firebat armor from behind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just enough to set off sensors.
What are you gonna do to me now,
Rachel Hawk.
Cornix?
You are here as a consultant, which was your given role. You are not here to give orders. You are not here to establish yourself as any sort of authority as far as Taskforce Echo's duties are concerned regarding our alliance. Your opinions will be noted, but if you attempt to go rogue, I will be forced to sever your head from your spinal column.
First off, they were merely suggestions. And second, you said duty.
She's right. She did.
You continue.
Please, I take no offense. I did my best to save as many lives as I could, and unfortunately that meant throwing away a handful, and I regret that to this day. But well, unfortunately, I'm still around to regret it.
Cornix gives a very brief sidelong glance to see if Ava is taking notes as far as infested Terran psychology at this point.
Ava doesn't actively have anything out.
Okay.
But Cornix has been around Ava enough to notice that this isn't the same curiosity she gives Cornix her fang. She definitely feels differently about this particular one than every previous time she's encountered aliens. Most of the time.
This one's part human. It's not as interesting.
It's not quite
Or it's much
but that
more.
might be the impression that's given off.
Regardless of Rachel Harmon's feelings, we are here to gather you, Richter, to assist in requiring the rest of the former Taskforce Echo.
Yes, and I gathered from your conversation that you've got one of my crewmates. Anyone else?
We have only the one known as Brooks. The
So we
others
have-
are in the custody of those known as
What were they called?
The Sons of Creation.
the Sons,
The Sons of something.
Creation.
Sons
Really?
of bitches, I think.
All of them.
I look
No.
over at Ava because I don't remember. Corlash doesn't remember
No.
the details.
If I'm remembering right, Ava immediately knows this because she went over it this morning. But I've
So you know that all
There's
of them,
no-
except like the two that are known to be under the captured by the Sons of Creation, are Nightfall and Jonas. Alexander. Nightfall and Alexander. Wrong name.
Yeah, there's still one. There's still one that's out there.
Dr. Rayana is currently, as far as we know, on Minoff.
Dr. Rihanna seems to be on Meinhof. We have not retrieved her, but and Shauna is currently working with us to retrieve the team. The others, however, at least last known location would be with Sons of Creation. Though, given that some of you managed to escape, it's possible they would have as well, and just our data is out of date.
There are 2 black sites known to be run by this terrorist organization, both of which we will need to investigate at some point. For the former captain's reclamation at Black Site 2, and for Miss Harmon's quarry being located, best we can tell, at Black Site 1.
Correction. Nightfall is at Black Site 2. Both.
Okay.
Both Rachel's kid and Captain Alexander are at Black Site 1.
Okay. Oh, that's right. E prime and E alpha are 2 different things. Ha ha. Therefore, if you, Commander Richter, would see fit to accompany us, I know that we can at least bring you back to the Akundalar. I don't know if the rest of your contingent will have room to be permitted on board, but we can see about arranging necessary transit, should that be required.
Richter's pack would be most useful in fighting the children of creation.
Sons. The
Sons.
sons
first
of
of all.
creation.
Whatever.
Well,
Well, no, sons. It matters.
I believe I can understand the reluctance in letting me bring an entire, a relatively small brood of Zerg aboard a ship with me. I believe I can see for some transportation of their own, however.
Very well.
The brood that I command is relatively small in number. I am only a somewhat skilled infested. After all, I am not a queen. But I've done my best at making them more effective with the knowledge that I still retain of our own technology.
Your dossier did communicate a rather sophisticated level of tactical acumen possessed by yourself, sir.
Well, I tend not to brag about my own skills, but psychoanalysts love to write what they believe makes one strong.
Then we should return to the ship and prepare.
Very well. I'll have my brood secure a couple of, Leviathan, and we'll see what we can do.
I will, without waiting for the rest, because apparently they're standing around, start heading back toward the ship. As we found him, we're good.
I mean, we just had like
Yeah.
0.02
We didn't say
seconds
anything for
respawn
half a
between
second.
his
Doesn't mean
words
apparently
and
they're
you
standing
picking
around.
up.
Everyone's just standing around. I'll
No.
head back to ship. We're
Okay.
Presumably with Coronix's
I'm teasing you.
So at this point, yes,
No.
Cornix will.
You just have a really short attention span.
Cornix will nod and look over at Oswald, ask him to notify Shauna Briggs that we found Richter and are proceeding back to the Akundalar.
He goes, all right, and starts to head back.
Okay. Commander Richter, is there anything you require that is still located nearby, or are you prepared to move out?
No, I don't believe so. When Kavash contacted me, I gathered up my brood and brought them here. I've taken command of the infested Terrans in this facility as well. They shouldn't bother you on your way out.
Very well, then.
Right.
And I will vanish and tell
Now.
everybody, let's go.
Alright. I will, I guess, not follow Coronix, but head in the direction we're going.
You know, I suppose I shouldn't be judging with my comprehension of Zerg tactical preferences, but the Protoss do love to make an exit, don't they?
He hasn't exited yet.
Fucking freaky.
Yes, I have.
Please tell me you actually said that.
There's like a little bit of a psionic drift from down the hallway. Actually, I have departed, yes.
That shit ain't right.
So the group of you make your way back to the ship.
I'm keeping an eye on Rachel. In case she tries anything.
She's just walking along,
Okay.
idly
Hey.
checking something on her wrist, like maybe she's got an itch. That's all.
Richard leaves himself basically right in front of you, as if you wanted to, you could easily open fire with one of those flamethrowers.
Yeah, I'm not interested.
Wow, we've already gotten rid of one party member. Let's go for two.
Push the big red button. Sorry. No, Dirk is for once being smart enough to keep his mouth shut. He's actually managed to figure out there
anything.
is so much shit going over his head right now.
All right, you guys make it back to the ship right about the same time as Shauna's Wraith is pulling into dock with the Akundalar.
Okay.
So you watch the hangar door drop, and the Wraith slides into the ship and docks with it. As you are all approaching the main entrance ramp. Well, it has certainly been a while since I was back here, but Well, the ship looks a little bit worse for wear, he says, indicating the, hull scoring from the scourges.
From the scourge. Yes, I believe our first port of call will be back to Unity Station for repairs and resupply.
The station's actually been underway. Good to hear.
Yes, it's significantly operational at this point.
We've certainly made a bit of progress while we've been gone.
I mean,
Well-
probably.
We are additionally attempting to ascertain the sequence of events that resulted with your dissolution of the original Taskforce Echo and apparent capture by many of the Sons of Creation. If you have any light to shed or intelligence you'd be willing to provide on these circumstances, we would be most appreciative.
Well, I did keep my eyes open during the events that followed, so I suppose I can shed what light I can.
Very well. Make yourself comfortable within, and we shall have a debrief.
Perfect. Let's meet in the communication room. I feel like that's probably ideal for showing everything that we know.
Excellent. And
Once
the
he-
space in the air that is Koronix heads towards the communications room.
Ava will head to the communications
I'll head there as
room.
well. William, how long has it been since the last time I used my chrysalis?
Like a couple days.
Okay.
Is there any recognizable to the senses indication that Koronix actually left?
Roll me a stealth check, Jack.
All right.
This is
I get
gonna be
plus
funny.
10 on these because of cloaking, right?
I'm gonna say without that because this is mostly just for how much sound you're making.
Oh, okay. High ranking. This is a 26.
No.
Okay. So I'm going to I sit there wait until Richter has left, and then I just Commander Cornix, and I'm just gonna sit there doing that for a while because he thinks he's still there.
And you go for about 45 seconds before you realize that he's not responding.
Yeah. Then I'll try and find him.
Like a blind man in a dark room looking for a black cat that isn't there.
That was quite the simile.
Which
I wish I could say I came up with that one, but I didn't.
Also, you're a Protoss. You don't have similes like that.
Which I assume means wandering around the ship looking for an invisible person. So
Please tell me
Go
he's like
somewhere else.
waving
I'm
his
gonna be
hands
a
in front
while.
of him.
If Dirk gets injured doing that, Ava will get a notification.
I mean, I don't. He doesn't like walk into walls. He's not quite that.
He's just feeling the space around him, trying to figure out where the Protoss is at.
Okay.
Alright, so the rest of you meet up in the comms room.
Right.
So Shauna Briggs and Richter meet you there. Ah, Shauna, it's good to see you. And you as well, friend, but perhaps we should get down to business. Yes.
Defeat the Huns? Sorry.
To defeat the Suns.
To defeat
Yeah.
the Suns. Did they send me daughters when I asked for anybody really who can hold a weapon? I don't really care, male, female, primal, we don't care. We don't have genders, it's not a thing.
Alright, so how much information do you currently have on the situation revolving around the events of what are we called now? Task Force Renegade, I believe, is actually our unofficial designation. Around your Task Force Renegade.
Defer to Ava on that one.
Ava will read off Aaron's notes.
So legitimately, what do you guys
Insert
currently
notes
know?
Here.
Oh, okay.
We know.
So Ava will go over.
Because I know what I know, and I know what Richter knows.
Yeah.
Right.
The limited information we have about how the group ended up going missing, the encounter with the Sons of Creation, the additional information about drug that we got from
Terrazine.
Crazy, and then
From crazy.
the
Gunstead.
information we got from the Sons of Creation database regarding the location of each of the individuals as codenamed, and then as Shauna and the rest of us inferred that they probably were. And also some minor details on the reason that Rachel is around.
Cornix will supplement with last known mission that was accessible on the records of the Akundalar was them going out to suppress some unrest on a mining colony, finding that someone was sort of inciting sedition at that location, which was the last thing that was clearly delineated as far as the ship's records are concerned. And then the information based around the one sort of video log that we recovered from Captain Ravenhall regarding his family and that sort of thing.
Yes. I suppose in the latter times our mission did sort of begin to revolve around the Suns as opposed to our general purpose as peacekeepers. Once it became clear that they were the ones responsible for the disappearance of Commander Ravenhall's family. Well, where to begin? From the, let's start with the mining colony. That mission was interesting. It was where we first got our real lead. The Black Site 3, was actually at the mining colony. It had been moved there to help Sons of Creation form a supply chain, as they provided weapons and propaganda to insurrectionists and helped stir unrest. Well, over the course of the events that transpired, our task force was able to infiltrate the ranks of some of the insurrectionists, find out who was supplying them, and more importantly, where that supply was coming from. When we found Black Site 3, we discovered it was something else. Not just a command center, a standard Terran facility designed to take off land where needed and provide, tactical and command readout, but it was a floating fortress. The black sites are well reinforced. Take a command center and the tactical and regional data that it can gather and transmit across a battlefield and provide it with the armaments of several battle cruisers. It's not easy to assault one of these things, especially not with a small force like ours. At least that was what we can gather from Black Site 3 itself. But infiltration was something that we were able to do. Nightfall specialized in it. He made his way into the black site and found out what he could, which, at the time, gave us the location of Black Site 2 and Black Site 1. Well, each of these 3 locations was something that we could not assail directly, but unfortunately, someone tracked Nightfall coming back out. We don't know who, but I have a very sneaking suspicion that his name comes from a very old Terran myth of a man who refused to die. I'm sure some of you know who I'm speaking of.
Well, now I wish I wasn't wandering blindly through hallways.
I mean, I don't know, because I'm a Primal Zerg.
Oof. I'm focused. I'm too busy focusing on the tactical concepts behind a reinforced command center. Apparently,
being there, I'm
That was a 3 and a 2 from the group nerds.
I mean, Corlash just goes,
I am not as familiar with your...
Sarah, you can go ahead and make a lore check. Your DC is going to be a lot lower because you're actually from Earth.
Well, I don't really care, but if everybody else is doing it, I might as well too.
I was just going to ask. Cause...
You do remember that he said that he was heading to the command center before he left, Dirk.
Victor.
Now I remember. All of a sudden, it comes to me.
Yeah. You remember the story of Rasputin, because it's kind of one of the ones that the Russian members of the UED like to share a lot.
Oh, that fuckstick? Yeah, I'm not interested in him.
Would you perhaps extrapolate for those of us unfamiliar with Terran society?
About now is when I walk in.
Yeah.
Well, you got this fella here who's just itching to share information with y'all. I'll let him tell it. He's probably got better stories, the backstage pass.
That's who I
I'm
was
sorry,
asking.
what?
Oh.
Please, Sergeant Harmon, there's no need for vitriol.
I'm not being vitriolic at all. I'm going to make a sandwich, and I leave.
Yeah.
And I walk away.
Walk away.
I feel like I missed something.
You're not the only one.
I don't know what you missed, so...
Very well.
come inside, Garrick.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, since none of you are familiar with the myth of Rasputin, apparently...
Now I'm rolling.
Two aliens and a nerd. No, we have no idea.
Dirk, you are familiar with the myth of Rasputin.
Oh, that shit they trying to kill way back when, who kept getting back up again and again and again and again and again. They did everything to him.
That one.
Yeah.
You were Zerg?
Well, historically speaking, a story from ancient Earth, there was a man in Russia long ago.
It was a man in Russia long ago. And his eyes are burning.
Oh, God.
I was trying to work those lyrics into his speech pattern.
Go, chicks. He was such a lovely dear. He preached that I full of ecstasy and fire.
That does it. We're doing a StarCraft Broadway review after this.
Rah, rah, Rasputin, Russia's greatest love machine.
Oh my God.
Anyway, there lived a man in Russia quite a while ago, but
Quite a ways back.
He was known as Grigory Rasputin, and he had an ear to the ground in all fields. He was an accomplished preacher to the masses. He was the, shall we say, whisperer in the ear of the queen, the czar, the czarina at the time. And, shall we say, those who disagree with him sought him dead. Well, his legendary status comes from the fact that, according to the story, they attempted to poison him, and he laughed it off. They shot him several times, and he simply survived. They attempted to drown him. He refused to die. They attempted to hang him. He refused to die. I believe it goes no less than 12 attempts at killing the man failed before supposedly a final one was successful.
The way I heard it, they even cut his dick off.
Yes. Right.
Dirk is here to add important information.
But I have little doubt that this is where the name for our brother Rasputin of the Sons of Creation comes from, and thus far he has lived up to the name. Every attempt to find him, stamp him out, or merely figure out how he knows what he knows has failed.
So the name would indicate a member of the UED.
Theoretically, the name's history does imply someone who has at least some knowledge of Earth's history, but from what I understand, there's a little bit of that does pass through the Terran Confederacy. Well, with cities like New Gettysburg. That said, I'm not inclined to believe that he was a member of the UED because someone of his particular talents I feel would not have gone unnoticed. Of course, excusing the possibility that they may have manifested after the UED was broken up. However, I believe it was Rasputin that tracked Nightfall as he left Black Site 3. None of us could find out how. None of us can still find out how. Which leaves us to his seeming technokinetic abilities. Something that we've never seen before in any psionic, Terran, Protoss, or otherwise.
I'm sorry, who's no what's it?
Rasputin has exhibited the ability to psionically manipulate not only those in his presence, but also extend an influence over those who are merely viewing his visage on a projection or screen. Being able to push the psionic ability over extended distances from areas of concealment simply by broadcast technology.
Blink. Blink, blink.
You
mean he can tell us what to do through the TV and we do it?
Yes.
Well, fuck.
Also, he has a certain amount of psionic control over technology itself, which we believe to potentially be part of the source of his ability to broadcast hypnotic signals over technological wavelengths. It's possible that one is an extension of the other. But, nonetheless, we're fairly certain, due to the untraceable means by which he found us, that it was him, that it was his hand. Shortly after we found the locations of Black Sites 1 and 2, we were attacked in full force. A squad of no less than a dozen wraiths, one battlecruiser, and a full complement of Marine armored soldiers. I don't believe I have to express to all of you that this is more than any individual terrorist organization should be able to gather.
Right.
Yes, we have arrived at the conclusion that the pockets funding the Sons of Creation are far deeper than anyone had at first anticipated.
Well,
As Rachel very loudly makes a sandwich from the mess hall.
Crumple, crumple. Like turns on the speakers. Crumple, crumple.
She
crumple.
probably would be.
Yeah.
but when we were attacked, we were taken into custody. Managed to abandon the Akundalar and set it on an autopilot in hyperspeed to take it to a different location, which appears to be how you were able to recover it. We set it to be that they would not be able to capture the ship. We seem to have been successful on that front.
Indeed.
But well, we each put our own Omega level ciphers on all of our documents before, well, the capture. But we were taken to what I can only believe now to be Black Site 1. Most of us were taken unconsciously, but my physiology, as he indicates to his entire body, allows a certain degree of recovery from wounds that is much faster than any Terran could predict. I achieved consciousness before they were able to finish transporting us, and was able to keep enough of a eye on the situation to gather a little bit more information. Black Site 1 is a nightmare. Screams echo throughout the halls. Scientists work freely on their experimentation. I don't know who goes in, but I've seen very few come out that didn't have the dogmatic expression one of the Sons of Creation soldiers. All of them seem to completely ignore the atrocity being committed around them. But I believe that Black Site 1 is also where you'll find Rasputin. I also found out a little bit more information about their Project K isolation.
Indeed.
However, I believe it will be best explained by our Dr. Rihanna, so perhaps I should save that information for when we found her.
Then we are next.
Unless you'd rather hear what I have to say now.
I believe that at least a cursory explanation would be helpful in the immediate future, and then Dr. Rihanna, should we be able to track her down and safely extract her from Meinhof or wherever she seems to have wandered off to further clarify any confusion or questions we may have at that time.
Well, perhaps this will clear some things up. The K in Project K Isolation stands for a name, and it stands for the name Kerrigan.
Oh shit.
This is the queen.
Okay,
Anyone?
even I recognize that name out of character.
So I don't know if
That
anybody,
being said,
nobody I think has ever heard someone clear their throat psionically before, but that's kind of what comes across from Coronix at this point.
I'm assuming that I know Kerrigan. is
John,
the
you're
queen.
muted.
like I know
Am I
that
muted?
one
Also,
out
there's
of
no
character,
thing. No.
but
I'm not.
I don't know
I'm
it.
apparently
Kerrigan
only muted to you
is-
guys. Hang on.
Known to literally everyone in the Caprulu sector, basically.
okay.
She's literally the boogeyman.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear
All
you.
right. XSplit could hear me, like OBS could hear me, so the audience could hear me. Just you guys couldn't. I was asking. Do I assume that I would know the name Kerrigan as the Queen of the Zerg?
Yes.
Yeah. What I had said was.
Oh, I googled this. Okay.
What I had said was.
That lady. I thought it was the other lady.
What I had said after
Not the figure skater.
after K for Kerrigan was.
The Queen of the Zerg.
Indeed. Project K Isolation is apparently the Sons of Creation's attempt to manufacture psionics of a similar capacity to the former Queen of Blades. And I don't know how familiar you are with our physiology, my Protoss friend, but Sarah Kerrigan is the single most powerful psionic the human race has ever produced.
I believe our own scholars have theorized that she would be equivalent, if not possibly surpassing, some of the more iconic members of my own race's history.
Needless to say, this is not a project that should come to fruition, least of all under the control of a people like the Sons of Creation.
Indeed, no. As far as these black sites are concerned, you said you had records on their current locations?
Had. On their previous locations. I have mentioned they are moving fortresses.
Indeed.
Then we should move to Meinhof and collect the remaining member of Taskforce Echo.
Yes, we should. Meinhof is a world that very much remembers infestation. Perhaps I should not be on the surface team.
That may be a wise tactical decision. We may even be required to have Korlash remain aboard.
Then we
For those of you
Well-
not debriefed on the history of Meinhof, Meinhof was during the last Great War. It was a escape for Terran civilians trying to run away from the attacks by the Queen of Blades and the Zerg, where the Zerg unleashed the hyper-revolutionary virus, creating a infested outbreak that threatened to overwhelm the planet with hordes of, he indicates to himself, zombies.
Infested Terrans make good troops. Shock enemy, make them behave irrationally.
While I can't argue the tactical soundness of that, it also leaves a lasting impact. I would not be welcome.
In that case, we will have Oswald Ridley chart a course for Unity Station. We will repair the Akundalar and then proceed directly to Meinhof after reporting to Admiral Horner and the Templar.
Very well. I would like to see this Unity Station myself, anyway.
And I will run up to the cockpit and tell Oswald to get underway.
All right. Oswald, I was waiting for you guys to finish your conversation. All right, let's go. He sent in the coordinates for Unity Station, and you guys are soon in hyperspace. It's going to be like 5 minutes.
It's like a block away.
Rachel, what are you up to?
Still making a sandwich, probably eating it.
I'm actually going to follow
Making
Cornix.
toast. Butter
and toast.
Guys. Yeah, I'll catch up with once he's in the cockpit. I know I'm not the person who the quartermaster or anything, but it is getting kind of crowded in the ship, and we've got so many rooms. I thought I just might point that out.
That is a excellent perspective.
I can relocate to the med bay if we need to resituate.
There is
Okay, let's
plenty
see.
of room on this ship. I do not understand what you mean.
I mean, I followed Cornix up into the cockpit,
Oh,
so
never mind. Never mind. Never mind.
that's why he's been looking for, because he didn't want to have that conversation in front of the person who just got on the ship, because that would be rude.
Right. Oh, and by the way, we don't have any extra bunks.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, however that's gonna work, I mean that's up to you, but I just thought I should point that out.
It is possible we could acquire the necessary items for that on Unity Station.
I mean maybe yeah.
Also, Zerg don't sleep.
I mean, you would think they would have noticed after spending, several days in the company of Corlash, but
Well, Dirk assumes that the zombie doesn't have to sleep, but it's still nice to give somebody a room.
That's fair.
Also, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure what kind of weapons we would need to handle the whatever those robo dog things are. I was talking about a dogomatic, but
Cornix just sort of tilts his head a little bit. Yes, I see what your concern would be under that area.
right, I don't know what you would do to fight though to use against those. So
Well,
mostly, I was thinking about the rooms.
in that case, we'll make sure that you have necessary access as one of the members of the crew to resources to supply for these needs, then.
All right. I figure we shoot into that gopher hole when we need.
Cornix mentally files that under the cabinet, rapidly expanding mental cabinet entitled Karen Similes for later research.
I'm gonna head up to the cabin, or to the cockpit area. Just look out the window.
All right, you see hyperspace going by.
Yeah. I just stare out the window for a bit.
I mean, technically, Zerg do sleep, now that I think about it, but just like 5 minutes at a time, basically.
I'll be in the med bay.
But anyway, so about 5 minutes later, you come out of hyperspace near Unity Station.
And Cornix will ping his comm. Ava Sweet, would you be kind enough to inform Admiral Horner of our progress?
I'm going to assume that you get the affirmative from Ava because Aaron literally just left their desk for a second.
Oh, whoops. I totally didn't see that.
Jack doesn't have a high perception roll. It's a thing.
No, Jack just doesn't have his Skype screen up that shows everybody. He has his Skype screen up that shows the person that's talking.
All right.
So yeah, that's going to be the first thing that happens once Aaron gets back.
All right. Well, first off, Oswald brings the ship into dock.
Mm-hmm.
So the ship ends up getting pulled in and docking with Unity Station. And then Cornix gives Aaron a request. Aaron gives Ava a request.
Cornix talks
And
through the fourth wall.
And then Cornix is going to proceed to his cabin, and
You might want to restate that one for Aaron because they missed it.
Please.
Aaron. Once we landed on Unity Station, Cornix pinged his comm and asked Ava to make the report to Admiral Horner. Basically, what we've accomplished and what we've learned.
Right. Ava will communicate her understanding and then actually probably go back to add things to her records on the ship.
Yeah, Cornix is in his cabin, basically imprinting memories onto his memory crystal of pretty much everything that happened on Char.
So when you go to access your records that are on the ship, you notice that everything that is not medical information is gone from the shipboard copy.
Ava will computer. Actually, probably just use the ship comms. Cornix, I need to ask you something very briefly.
Very well, continue.
Yeah, whatever. It seems that some of my records have been deleted. With your permission, in terms of Terran justice structures, it might be relevant that the timing of the deletion could potentially be relevant to us. With your permission, I'd like to add that to my report to Admiral Horner.
Very well. Whatever you consider appropriate. I will attempt to see if any of these records are recoverable.
That's appreciated. Thank you.
I want to.
Somewhere in prison, Stefan's like, "Bring it, bitch."
Is
Vera Ravenhall.
Where's Richter at, by the way?
Richter's still in the comms room.
All right, I'm gonna talk to him.
Talking with Shauna.
Oh, I think Cornix was about to talk to the ship. So
Yeah. So Cornix.
But I don't have to be in the comms room for that.
Yeah, you don't have to be in the comms room for that. So what do you say?
I've just asked for Vera Ravenhall.
The electronic voice kind of sounds up over the comms in the room that you are currently in. Yes. How can I help you?
I am the acting captain of the Akundalar Cornix. I would like to investigate some missing data that has been reported to me by my executive officer, Ava Sweet, regarding personal records of a non-medical nature. Do you have any records in your systems regarding this missing data?
Yes, I do, actually.
What details can you provide?
Order given by, at the time, acting captain Stefan Knezevich. Signal was given, and according to a protocol that he had implanted here, all of his personal records and non-medical records of the ship that related to the events that had transpired were forwarded to one Kayla Alston and then expunged from the records of the ship.
Is any of that data recoverable by your systems?
Afraid not.
And they were forwarded to whom?
Kayla Alston was the address given to me.
If you could acquire any accessible information on that individual.
You've met them.
Very well.
Lady from the bar.
If you can find any additional information regarding them, please forward copies of that to both myself and my executive officer.
I'm gonna be quite honest. That's about all the information there is. She's highly classified in Dominion Intel.
I understand. Thank you for your assistance.
I go to
Yeah, going to find Admiral Horner.
I go to the comms room to talk to Richter.
All right. She's in the middle of a conversation, and so you're wrong accent. I'm trying to be Russian. That's not all infested Terrans are Russian.
God damn it, Stukov. Why do you have to establish
I'm
that
sorry.
pattern?
I mean,
You all sound alike to me.
the infested Terrans are, a particular breed.
So you're telling me then that, and you walk in the door. You must be Corlash, correct?
Indeed I am. Infested Richter. I have a query
How can I assist
for
you?
Aboard the Unity Station, is it possible you can discover whether or not a hive gene shaper is present?
I mean, there's only really one gene shaper among the swarm. That'd be Abathur, but
Does
well,
he not have what the Terran word would be of assistance?
no, the Evolution Master is quite specific that he is the only one qualified to weave strains in the Zerg swarm. That said, some of the queens do their own genetic dabbling. But the Evolution Master is the one who determines what changes shall be adapted to the swarm as a whole.
In pursuit of essence and evolution, I have a curiosity I would wish to run past one of these queens or this Abathur.
Well, I suppose we'll see if there's a queen on the station then.
I would like your assistance. The Zerg Hive has nuances to it Primal Zerg are not always privy to.
Yes. I can see that. What are you looking for exactly?
I would like to know if it is possible for improvements to the Primal Zerg to be performed with the knowledge and essence of the Zerg Hive. A combination, two halves to form one whole.
I feel like that wouldn't be possible without infestation. I don't know that that's a thing that works on Primal Zerg.
Is a curiosity.
It is. Would you be willing to... willing, I guess, is sort of a afterthought if a queen gets wind of this and is curious, but would you submit to infestation?
That would depend entirely on what would occur.
Well, for one, you lose any individuality you have. If they leave you with a personality, it's because they wanted you to have it.
You seem particularly independent, as do these queens.
The queens are left that way because that's their purpose, and I suppose I was as well. I'm supposed to be a command unit among infested Terrans. But there's still the voice of the swarm in the back of my head that gives me my orders and tells me what I should do and who I should be. At the moment, I'm being left as an open operative, but above all else, the swarm is in charge. You have no real will when it comes down to it.
I am still curious. If evolution is our mandate, but independence is also, is potentially a conversation worth having with the swarm.
We'll see what happens.
Indeed.
And then I'll head off to... actually, I'm just going to go ahead and if the ship has landed, I'm going to go ahead and head towards the airlock.
Yeah. He looks over at Shauna. Well, shall we see the station? See what's on it? Yes, Maybe we should. Let's go.
Cornix is gonna put through a quick call to Oswald to basically see to the repairs.
All right.
Because absent players become NPCs and NPCs get the bitch work.
What's his science roll? 4. All right. He's gonna ask you for credits to go and get repair kits.
Okay. How much is he gonna need?
I think we have a party fund that hasn't been distributed between people, so.
Yes, there was one. It was the last count. I think somebody else grabbed. Probably Oswald has it on his sheet.
Oswald has it, yeah.
On Stefan's
Last number I have
the
is
last number was
66,335.
Yes, that was the last number on Stefan's sheet. I don't know how much of that's been spent, but I don't think much.
I know Oswald spent some on, like, upgrading things.
That was
Mm-hmm.
before that number. That was, yeah. Most of the upgrades, unless there were any after Stefan got yanked. I don't remember any.
Other
I
than
think
the
that's
stuff
probably
Donna
pretty
did.
close to the.
Cool. Let's
He's
figure
gonna
out how much-
ballpark you probably around the range of like 1,500 credits.
That we can do. We will authorize that expenditure.
All right. All right, so take 1,500 off of the crew credits, which is going to be 5 out of 4, actually.
Yeah, 64,835 is what we'd have left afterwards.
All right.
Yay,
We'll
logistics.
go ammo, refill whatever's missing for the guns for ammunition purposes.
That's true, yeah, because we will have to reload what we spent from the. Actually, we were using lasers primarily, right, with the burst cannons.
Yeah, the burst cannon doesn't use ammunition.
Okay.
Mostly, yeah. I'm thinking just the individual
Right, yeah, small arms.
small arm stuff. I can't imagine it's going to be a lot of money, but
Alright, well, if you want to do calculations on that, and Cornix will authorize expenditures there also. And then he is going to go looking for a person whose name I actually wrote down.
we don't have.
Archivist Talamus. Who's interested in Zerg information at the Archivist libraries.
All right. Archivist. Was it Talamus or was it Talamus?
Talamus, probably.
About to say. Archivist Talamus is present when you arrive, and he's as you approach, he recognizes you as a person who's been bringing a lot of information. Ah, Cornix, it's good to see you again. How can I assist you?
I have recently come back from an exposition to Char, where we encountered
Indeed.
quite a number of interesting phenomenon, shall we say. If you would care to look, and I extend my memory crystal, whatever might be helpful for the records.
All right, let's see. What all did you find? You found.
Okay, so we found an infested jukebox. That's going to feature pretty heavily.
As it should.
Right. The other high point would probably be the Miterlings and the Scourge encounter, particularly since he was actually able to use psionics against the Scourge.
Also, probably the Queen.
Yes, and then the whole shebang of interacting with the Zerg on a non-aggressionary basis as they guided us through those areas, watching the Nidus worm go by, talking to a queen while she's riding on an Ultralisk. And of course, there's a nice sort of like National Geographic voiceover narration to all of the setting, the establishing shot footage and things like that.
Cornix, as voiced by David Attenborough.
Right, pretty much. Char, a planet of in unstable geology.
I'm going to assume there's also a bit of notation about the fact that different Zerg broods have biological markers to differentiate them.
Yes. Talking about the bioluminescence or the carapace markings, that sort of thing. Yeah.
All right. We'll say. You get 20 honor for that.
Sweet.
Is enough to buy your Zerg companion a great sword.
Yes, but he's not going to.
So, I don't
Bridge
think
the
we've
gap.
ever gotten. Since logistics is always fun to spend mass amounts of time on. I
Shopping
don't think
episode.
that we've ever gotten a full listing of what weapons we have.
You're the arms master now, so you get to keep track of that shit.
Yes, I know. That's the thing. It's never been listed.
All right.
Okay. I'll tell you what I have on mine.
Yeah,
And
because I
then
know.
you guys can tell me who's holding on to what.
Like the big. Well,
what
there's
we've
the.
included.
Yeah, like I was gonna say everybody what individual stuff have used, but I'm talking mostly about the enormo pile of weapons that we've collected.
Yeah, I think Jack has most of that information because he's the one who's been looting.
Oswald
I've
also looted some of the stuff, I believe.
Yeah.
over time, Cornix has acquired a protective vest, 3 repeating pistols, 1 auto rifle.
Pistols, 1 auto rifle. Okay.
And then that protective vest. We had. Where's those other ones? Hang on a second while I look.
Okay. How many shots down is Rachel on the fire?
She is only missing, I think, like 2 or 3. Let me check for you here.
Okay.
Yes, she's down 3.
Okay. Cool. How many down is Ava?
On the medical delivery system, 0.
On
Full.
on her gun.
Oh, on her gun. I still have plenty of ammo.
We had at least 1 heavy Gauss rifle and 1
I have
chain gun.
58 light slugs.
Okay.
Which I think is enough given how often Ava shoots things.
I mean,
Actually, I
he'll
believe
buy-
you're down 5, Rachel.
Oh, 5? Sorry.
Because each of your flamethrowers holds 30 fuel, and you've got 55 left, which you would have had 60 at max.
Oh, okay. So 5. Sorry.
Well, 1 chain gun, and neither of those have been fired yet.
Oh wait, sorry, not a Gauss rifle. We had a canister rifle. Sorry,
Yeah.
we had
Canister.
one
Oh,
canister
and
rifle,
I
Oswald
have
has
not been
currently.
counting
which
down
I
the
think
food
Oswald has the
very
canister
well.
rifle now. Yep.
Right.
We have 9 days worth of food for 3 Terrans.
we also have.
I'm not doing the food. I'm only weapons man.
Okay, fine.
Somebody else
I'll
can track
keep
the
it.
food.
We also have an
Ow.
infested. We also have an
Yeah.
infested Marines Gauss rifle that might be able to be farmed for parts.
I think it's
That's kind of
alive.
biotech at this point.
It's not alive anymore. No.
I'm going to imagine at some point Dirk saw that and threw it out the airlock.
Probably a smart
That is-
decision.
Because that is wrong.
Yes, and then I know that Oswald is missing a certain amount from his sniper rifle, but I'll worry about that later.
I'm not.
Okay,
I haven't used any of my ammo.
and what's your gun?
I don't have
You
one.
have.
Yeah, I was gonna say
You have one?
he's got a Nerf gun.
I've got a Nerf
Oh,
gun.
that's right. You just that's right.
Because we did fire off a few rounds of practice with another gun, but you guys still won't let me have an actual gun.
That's right. I wouldn't let you have it because you couldn't figure out the word safety. And somebody else besides me has a shotgun, I know.
Ava.
Yes, I have a
Ava
shotgun.
has a
I
shotgun.
don't have any shotgun ammo, according.
Okay.
Oh, I have 6 shotgun ammo.
Okay,
Sorry.
cool. I will figure out shit from here.
And as always, feel free to buy more guns.
Yes, no, yeah.
Or melee weapons for me.
I'm buying some basic drugs and ammo packs, but I will just do that out of my own funds.
So
And I'm going to see Admiral Horner because shopping episode.
All right. So while you guys are deciding how you want to spend your money, I highly recommend someone gets a jetpack.
put a jetpack on the Zerg.
No,
Yes,
absolutely not.
the best plan.
After your
I mean, ultimately,
fireborn,
it's-
does the explosion impact you?
I think we're ruling that Fireborn are no longer immune to fire, just reduced damage from it.
They don't
And-
suffer the weapon traits
Yeah.
from
So-
fire. The flames or
I-
energy damage traits.
I would certainly take reduced damage from the explosion.
All right,
But you would
so
still
I'm
get hurt
going
by
to
the
see
explosion.
Admiral Horner.
All right. So yeah, you head up to the command center for Project Unity. Inside, you meet with the 3 primary leaders: Stukov, Horner, and Karax. As you enter the war room where they're all having conversations, Horner turns to look at what you're doing as he's talking with a scientist handing him a data pad. He hands it back to them for a second and, Miss Sweet, I see you're back. How, any updates?
Yes, we managed to go to Char and retrieve this individual that we were that totally has a name,
Richter.
and retrieve Richter. We also made contact with one of the queens and acquired her help in the matter. Richter was able to give us additional information about the Sons of Creation and about the method through which the previous Taskforce Echo was abducted.
And, very good. I don't think I've got time to review a full report, so give me the key points.
All right, Ava will very quickly go over. They have a lot of resources. Their black site was at this mining place.
They're trying to make a new
And-
Kerrigan.
Yes,
Correction,
and
an army of Kerrigans.
Yes.
and the most troubling piece being that they seem to be experimenting to try and replicate the abilities of Sarah Kerrigan.
As the room
When-
goes silent.
Yeah, when you say that last part, like half of the room stops what they were doing, and you assume the other half just didn't hear what you said. Because like
This is what is called burying the lead.
Yeah.
No, this is what's called the way that Ava gives information.
That's fair.
You mean
Um,
the enemy is an antediluvian?
this is roughly about the same caliber actually of what we're just revealing. Only in this case, it's the enemy is Cain.
Right.
I mean, we'll have World of Darkness conversations later.
Let's not spoil the other game for anyone that isn't caught up on it.
I'm just saying, Kane is a setting ender. Whole setting.
Yeah, so it's
All
Kerrigan,
of the
actually.
Anyways,
settings. All
Oh.
of the settings.
Anyway. So, he stops for a second, and he, like, turns around to the scientist who had been about to hand in the datapad again and says, like, that'll have to wait. I need a full debrief now.
And Ava will basically give every piece of information she's been given, and then our captain might have additional details that he felt it was not prudent to share, and also, I believe, both members of the former Taskforce Echo that we've retrieved are currently on the base and may have additional details as well.
Whew. Of all the people to have insane world-ending plots, we had to find the people who thought an army of Kerrigans would be a good idea.
With the greatest possible respect, it's probably better they were found.
Yes, I would rather that their first appearance not be when they have an army of Sarah Kerrigans marching on August Grad and literally ripping the planet apart. Okay. We need to find them now. And I think that the only way we're going to do that is if we can find the rest of Task Force Renegade.
Our current plan, of course, at your discretion, was to go to the planet of... I have it in my notes, and it says Mumbai, and that sounds wrong.
Meinhof.
Mumbai? Yeah, let's go to Mumbai.
That's
Okay.
That's a
I
longer
was gonna
trip.
say,
Fuck that. Doomfist already got his gauntlet.
Shut up! I have dyslexia and horrible handwriting.
No.
that is perfectly excusable.
Yeah, Meinhof, where both of the current members feel very confident that we will locate their medic. Unfortunately, the other two members of Task Force Renegade Echo are currently, or at least at our last known location, in the custody of the Sons of Creation at Black Sites 1 and 2, respectively. Black Site 1 being the one that they seem to have the project at.
This is going to be quite the trip. Do you have any idea how we can locate these black sites?
Aside from intelligence from some Sons of Creation location giving it away, from the information I have, my best guess would be locating some sort of transport. They're kidnapping children, they have to be bringing them somehow. But of
Problem
course, that's
is-
only my assessment.
We'll see what we can do. You're a known quantity. If we're going to hunt from that angle, we can't use you. Task Force Echo, at this point, I am willing to wager is known to the Suns.
Yes. As I believe as we relayed previously, they managed to access our systems when we were on Capital World.
Corhall.
Coral.
Yes, I got that report. His brother Rasputin is concerning, as are the abilities he seems to manifest.
Indeed.
So, while we pursue that option, do you have any other leads?
There is a second and apparently a third black site. They need supply lines. And Commander Ravenhall believed that members of his family were targeted by them, though that may tie in more closely with the child kidnapping part. Um,
Well,
their operating location, though they may have vacated it by now, on Coal Hall was a charity of sorts referred to as the Angel's Arms. It's possible that moniker is in use elsewhere. This was totally Stefan's job.
roll me an
You shouldn't have
intelligence
turned
check.
him in.
Okay.
I mean, he should.
Anything specific or just my intelligence stat?
This is just how well you're going to be remembering something, so just your intelligence
Okay.
stat.
Oh, let's not quibble about who's evil, Corlash.
I mean, if I had eaten Stefan, I could have, maybe had his memories and thought about it.
Oh no,
All right.
I'm evil. I'm not the insidious one.
You're like
Just
May.
evil, not Satan.
No, I'm the opposite of May.
Anti-May.
I'm
Right.
more like the interpretation of Mercy that she's evil.
All right. So, you remember where you first found the Akundalar and what was being done with it.
Oh yeah, yes I do. Additionally, it's possible that they were trying to acquire the Akunda through a sale transaction of sorts with the people we recovered it from.
The Junkers.
Task
And
Force
you also
16
remember
was
who
looking
that
into
transaction
that.
was being carried through.
Mhm. Task
And-
Force Whiskey was going to look into that angle, but I don't believe we've gotten any updates on them. I don't know if they acquired other information or not.
Well, actually, Whiskey's here on the station. You may want to seek them out.
Of course.
That might be our best lead, actually. If we can figure out who they were going to take the Akundalar to, we might be able to find out where they were going to take it.
Understood. Should I redirect the Task Force Renegade members towards you if I encounter them again?
Yes, please. I need to get an update from them ASAP.
Of course. Win dismissed. If she is.
Yeah, it is dismissed. Go find Task Force Whiskey. I think they'll have information we might need.
Right. Did
For all of
Shauna
our
give
sakes.
me a communicator number? Probably not.
What do you say?
Did Shauna give me a communicator number?
Probably not. Not in the
Okay.
conversations we've had.
Then Ava is going to message the number we have for Task Force Whiskey.
Task Force Wiki.
Brilliant.
We need a Wikipedia for all these task forces.
I wouldn't use that task force. They're terribly sourced.
Task Force.
Every time they open a
Whiskey.
door, it's just citation needed. Citation needed.
And they're really big into vandalism for some reason.
And I will. And I'll also probably search around, see if they're actually out seeing the sights anywhere I obviously noticed them.
Actually, as you reach, roll me a perception.
That's why I said if I obviously noticed them. See? The dice know I'm bad at things.
You don't notice them until you bump into Vasquez.
Oh,
Flunk.
Like you were in the middle of pulling your phone out to like start calling them, and then as you're walking, you like face first into a suit of power armor.
Two power armors clash in a room.
I'm not wearing my power armor right now.
Like you like face plant into the chest piece of a suit of power armor, and like off to the side there's a sort of a surprised, "Oh, I am so sorry." As you look over to the side and see that Vasquez was apparently walking with Dr. Zyger, and Zyger's not wearing her power armor, but Vasquez still is.
Zyger?
The medic.
Yeah, they're medic.
Oh. I thought we had to go retrieve her.
No.
No.
Medic for
No.
whiskey.
Medic for
Whiskey's
Task Force
medic.
Whiskey. Yep.
Okay.
Yes. No. Dr. Rihanna has not just randomly shown up from Meinhof on Unity Station.
Oh, look! What a coincidence!
Oh, thank God, you're already here.
Well,
Hello.
We're gonna take credit for finding
Actually
you.
looking
just so
for
you. Know.
you. Ah.
oh, look, all this glory we suddenly gained.
Yes, you were looking for us.
We've managed to recover some of the previous Taskforce Echo members and uncover a bit of a plot. I know you were following up on the sale that was being made of the now Akundala, previously something else. Previously Nocturna. Was hoping to get any information you'd happen to get in reference to that.
Yes, we would be happy to share the information you have, but first, how many have you found and who?
Two, Shauna Briggs and the infested Terran, and a member of the group.
Richter.
Indeed. We are planning on making a trip to retrieve the doctor next. Unfortunately, while we have information on the location of the other two members, to some extent, it's not necessarily feasible for us to rescue them.
Yes, very well. Well, perhaps we should find a place to sit and we can share the
Indeed.
information we have.
And I'll probably send to Corlash and Corlash, Cornix, and and new guy, dumb guy, whatever, Dirk.
New guy, dumb guy.
Accurate.
So,
that I am meeting with them. Just.
I don't have a communicator.
Okay, I'll send it to the ship. If you are on the ship, you will get the notice.
I'm not on the ship either.
He's not on the ship.
Okay.
Well, fine. No message for you.
I'm just.
You don't have to get the
I
message.
was just letting you know
She sends it because she feels obligated.
that
When Cornix gets his, if there's location information provided,
Yes,
he'll head straight
there's
there.
Absolutely location information. And basically an RSVP request.
'cause I'm going to talk to a queen apparently. So
Cornix will do his best to go boop.
All right, so the group of you that you all get your messages. Those of you who have communicators, which includes Rachel, probably.
No, intentionally excluded.
Okay, never mind then.
it's not a member of Taskforce Echo.
It's less that and more that I don't want Task Force Wiki hearing about how we threatened the guy's life.
Y'all did it. I did.
Yes, exactly.
Gonna leave.
All right.
Ava's
In that
got a weird
particular
sense
case-
of propriety.
Those of you who get the message, what are you doing with it?
Headed straight there, honestly.
Okay.
Dirk is was in the process of figuring out inventory, which I've got set up for whenever. And is Stuffs is the write up of everything that they should get into his pocket,
And
almost makes his way completely out, stops, turns around, goes back, gets a gun because he left his back there. Nothing big, just his
You
shotgun.
can't leave without a gun. You feel
Right.
naked. Yeah.
It's not like he's walking around with, Gauss rifle.
The dog that's on the ship looks at you as you walk out and walk back in. He's like, oh.
Stop. Tap the dog on the head. Scratch. Go.
I assume we've been feeding the dog.
Yes.
I would hope so. Otherwise, I don't think
Corlash has
Richter's
been
the only zombie on the ship.
Corlash has been making sure the dog has been fed.
Okay.
Also, none of you have named the dog.
Has not requested a name.
Dirk assumes that he has a name.
Will name itself.
He just hasn't had time to
I've
ask.
been calling him Cletus, but that's just me.
Ah,
Can't wait till
Alright.
we have Cletus the infested border collie.
The pup will discover its own name as it discovers its place in the pack.
I'm not gonna correct him.
Hey. So, those of you who get the message,
Yep.
you all head your way there?
Yeah.
Rachel, what are you doing?
I've finished eating my sandwich, and I am now in my quarters playing the ukulele.
Yes.
Idly playing ukulele.
Yep, she's playing like she's like thinking a song out. It's an actual song, but she's playing it real slow. Just for that aesthetic feel.
Alright, so let's take a step over to Corlash.
Yes, I am going to speak with the queen.
Alright, so Richter walks along with you to the entrance into the hive that lives underneath in this asteroid field, in this station, basically.
Yep.
And as the two of you enter down into the hive, Richter just kind of looks around. Well, this is a fairly well put together situation. I suspect there will probably be some form of queen somewhere at the center of it keeping track of things.
One would expect.
Well, let's see what we can find. They'll probably be in the evolution chamber.
That is where we shall go.
Alright, let's see what we can do. So you make your way down into the center of the hive, where most of the drones are at work, forming new Zerg structures where the larvae are hatched. You make your way into the evolution chamber, and it's surprisingly empty in here for about 15 seconds before you hear a scurrying noise near one of the tunnels, and there is a figure that emerges from some of the tunnels and stands basically in front of you as it sort of rears up and holds its claws almost like crossing, like steepling them as it looks at the group of you. Organism Abathur with you. Explain purpose in hive.
We have discovered the gene shaper.
The rest of you, appearing before this duo is a sort of, I would say, worm-like entity. His body is made up mostly of sort of blackish carapace with a series of, green, sacs on the side of his body as he sort of weaves his hands together like he's making a sort of a nodding motion. He looks basically like a slug with a series of arms up and down his torso and a set of 4 massive spiked talons near the back of him that serve a purpose that you don't, that none of you quite understand, because it's kind of inscrutable to the evolution master himself. His face is kind of sunken into the carapace in the front, and he's got this sort of row of teeth that don't seem to, like, close. Like, it's just kind of an open front mouth on the front of his body. I've linked an image for those of you in the Roll20 and in the Twitch chat.
Sweet. Yep, that's him.
Blink, blink.
Oh,
The fuck?
I mean,
Well,
none,
no,
of,
I
you, none
think
of you were there.
we're not there,
Yes, I know.
but yeah.
Abathar.
Explain purpose in Hive.
Gene Shaper, I have a curiosity I wish to bring before you. The primal Zerg exist to consume essence and evolve, perfecting ourselves for our survival and the survival of our species. The Hive similarly perfects itself using evolution, though not quite in the same manner. The curiosity I propose: if a primal Zerg such as myself were to undergo specific genetic mutation led by a gene shaper, what might could we potentially craft with this cooperation?
Primal Zerg. Imperfect. Redundant sequences. Too much information. Cluttered. Messy. Could do with improvement. Need purpose. Need direction. Zerglings. Small attack. Light forces. Hydralisks. Ranged offensive elite unit. Each have designated purpose. Best fit inside of role. Outside, less. Not intended. Primal Zerg, built for universal purpose, have too much redundancy, too much generalization, no specialty.
What sort of improvements would one such as you suggest for such a lack of purpose?
Would define strength, find purpose, find meaning in evolution, cut meaningless, extra information.
And what do you think would result of combining the two halves of our species?
Would create single-minded creation, designed to fulfill purpose and evolve to become more potent at purpose.
That would lose what makes us primal, but would gain much power, you think?
Primal Zerg directive: maintain individuality while evolving. Zerg directive: evolve at all costs.
This is very enlightening. Perhaps there is something there, but for the future. This conversation should happen with Pack Leader, the Haka. See if cooperation further benefits both.
Primal Zerg Dehaka not present on station.
No. When next I speak with him, I will raise this curiosity and acquire his perspective. I thank you for your time, Gene Shaper.
Very well. Queries answered. Presence in hive unnecessary.
We will depart.
I'll turn and start walking away.
You head away, and Avatar returns to what he was doing. He sort of turns around and like leans forward and burrows down back into the evolution chamber and proceeds to continue spinning sequences as he does.
An interesting query with interesting potential.
I suppose, although I did not expect to see the evolution master himself here upon the planet.
If this is the unification of three races, I would imagine there is much information for the evolution master, as you call him. Much data to be gathered.
I suppose, well, I suppose we should also get back to it then. And we're going to cut over to the meeting. After the group of you have gathered at sort of just a pub that's on the station for people to take their shore leave.
I should note that Ava also would have sent a message to the ship that if either Task Force Renegade member returns, they get to know that Horner is looking for them.
All right.
Because I don't have their phone numbers.
Valid.
All right. You sent that message,
And also with a request to forward it if either of them left a forwarding number. Shona may have.
All right. So after you've left that information, you all gather and sit down at what is essentially just like a shore leave pub for the people on Project Unity. And so you sit down. It's currently Vasquez and Zyger, and a short while later, Malcolm walks in. The Marauder that you met. He's out of his armor. He's a very like dark skin, very Samuel L. Jackson-esque.
Nice.
He's bald headed, full like chin beard, but very like strong facial features as he like walks over and sits down. All right, so what do we got? And Zyger looks over at him and over at Vasquez, and then looks at the group of you. Well, so the information that we have found is that, well, the Junkers were looking to sell the ship to an individual called the Broker. The Broker was acting as an intermediary between the Junkers and the Sons of Creation.
As anticipated.
Were looking for the ship and its technology. We suspect that if we could find the Broker, they may have the location of the missing black sites, or could perhaps schedule a meeting that would bring someone who does know the location of the black sites to us. That is a long shot, considering the Broker prides themselves on being hidden, on keeping their information to themselves, and being relatively neutral. But if we could find them, then we may have a lead.
How big of an apocalypse would it have to be for the Brokers to break that neutrality?
Well, I don't know anything about them personally, but such a situation is often built upon reputation. It would likely have to be something worth dying for.
Cornix will nod. Well, we have significant intelligence indicating the Sons of Creation are likely to be attempting to foment something remarkably apocalyptic if they are left unchecked.
That does not sound good.
No, indeed.
I mean, no.
What scale are we talking about?
As individuals of action and background within the Dominion, you are, of course, familiar with the threat presented by the Queen of Blades when she was an active part of the game.
Yes, of course. Many of us were on the front lines of those of us who were battling with the Queen of Blades' swarm.
Imagine then the desperation of circumstances if an entire army of equivalently powered individuals was created and unleashed upon the sector.
I'm keeping an eye out to make sure there's no one listening in from like the.
You can't listen into telepathy.
Okay. Fair enough. But not everyone's responding in telepathy.
Yes.
Yeah.
On a scale of
there's-
1 to 10, fuck nuggets.
There's this moment where Andrea just kind of stares at the table for a second, and like the color drains from her face for a little bit. If what you are saying is true, then I feel that the sector would have no future.
Like I said, fuck nuggets.
So, if adequately convinced of the objective, it's possible we could try and negotiate with the broker.
I think that if anything would be enough of a bargaining chip to break that neutrality, this would be it. There are few who do not know that individuals' impact on the sector.
In your professional opinion, Sergeant Vasquez, would this be something one would wish to communicate through normal channels to the broker, or something one would wish to present in person?
That staticky reply comes back over Vasquez's speakers. There's always someone listening on open channels, especially when we're talking about people like the Suns.
Very well, then. We will have to ascertain where the broker's base of operations is located, and then make our way that direction. Preferably once we have acquired Dr. Rayana from where they are currently located, as having further confirmation of our enemy's projects would most
I've
likely go a
advised us-
long way into convincing the broker of our intentions.
Advised Admiral Horner as to the information that we had. You may wish to update him, given that we were asked to do everything we could to locate the sites.
Sorry, what did you just say, Aaron? I'd miss half that sentence.
I said that I had advised Admiral Horner on what we knew, and that we might want to update him because our orders were essentially to figure out how to locate the site.
Okay. Yes, we will let Admiral Horner know, and we will see what we can do about setting up a meeting with this broker while you are looking for Dr. Rihanna.
If you happen to make contact with either Shauna Briggs or the infested Terran, he would very much like to speak to them as well, I think.
Very well. If we see them, we will send them his way. Oh, she turns and looks up at Vasquez. We have a lot of work to do. Yeah, that about sums it up. All right.
Very well. We will be in contact once we have accomplished our next stage of acquisition.
And Malcolm looks across the two of you, or the three of you, and keep yourself safe, because if the Sons find out you know this stuff, they'll come at you hard.
Yes, we are planning to upgrade the Akundalar while we are in dock. Make sure that we have as good a defensive capability as possible.
Don't forget to upgrade yourselves, too. Because they
Working
might
on
not
it.
come at you in space.
I'm working on it.
All right, I guess we should get back to work, right? Yes, I think we should get this underway as quickly as possible to not give them any time to complete their plans. Good fortune to you, and we will see you in the future.
Likewise.
The three of them stand up and make their way out of the bar.
See ya.
All right. What are the rest of you doing now?
Cornix is going to run back to the Akundalar and talk with Oswald about some possible upgrades for the ship.
Oswald, by the way, has repaired the ship with the 1,500 credits that you gave him.
Before you run off, got some things for you to sign off on.
Yes. What do we have?
So we got a lot of guns, but we ain't got I'd say we could probably stand to do with some grenades.
Very well.
A few different types. Ammo. We need to ammo up some stuff. What I got here ends up to be a total of, let's see, carry the 3. Oops, wrong way. 50. 5,313 credits worth of stuff.
And that will provide, you're saying, ammo, grenades, and what else?
That'll get us. That'll get me up to proper on my Gauss rifle. That will get me my shotgun shells back, plus shotgun shells for the dock. Couple slugs to replace what she's missing for pistol. Rachel's fuel. And 5 fragmentation grenades, 2 concussive grenades, and 5 breaching charges.
I have a lot of pistol ammo. Do I really need more?
On a weird chance that you end up using your 58 in the next, do you want to run out?
No, fair point.
I'm just saying.
Very well.
All right.
Sounds like sensible purchases. And you said 5313?
5313.
Okay.
And that will make Ava's shotgun shells, by the way, adamantine shotgun shells.
Okay.
So armor piercing, basically?
Adamantine is there was
Put what you got me in the chat, and I'll put it in my
piercing and something else.
Nice.
Penetration 2, rending 4.
Okay.
Hells yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna put you at crew credits are gonna be at 59522.
And I just bought my stuff out of my own pocket.
I am muting my mic. I didn't buy anything because
Okay.
I don't have money or spend it.
It's true. All right.
Once I get back to the ship, I'm just gonna tool around until everybody else gets back.
All right. When you get back to the ship with Richter, he gets the notification that Horner's looking for him and heads back out to go meet with
Okay.
Admiral Horner.
That's fine. I am now back in the ship.
When Shauna Briggs arrives a few minutes later, she gets that notification as well and also heads out. All right. Anyone have anything else they need to get?
Go ahead.
Unless there's a shortage on med packs, I'm getting a few of those.
No, like you've got access to a good supply of basically
Cool.
everything. I would, however, note that Oswald did use all the repair kits that he bought with that 1,500 credits.
Okay.
To repair the ship.
And then you say, but repair kits are only 50 credits. Why did he need that many? Because the ship was down about 200 hit points.
Yeah. He's gonna talk to Oswald and Shauna. Cornix is gonna get Oswald and Shauna together, talk about at least getting an improved handling upgrade for the Akundalar. Which would basically give it a +2 defense when piloted, costs 1,500 credits. And ask about how long that would take to install.
I mean, you've got engineers on hand to
Right.
install any upgrades you purchase basically immediately.
Okay.
It shouldn't take more than a few hours, generally speaking.
Okay. And
Barring some of the more like super intensive upgrades, which might take a bit longer.
so if we wanted to get a target guidance system and a combat missile battery, or I mean a destroyer missile battery, because we can afford that.
Yeah, you can do
that.
Ava will ask that you please don't deplete the group supplies completely in case we need emergency medical. We need to purchase additional medical supplies at some point.
Now, based on the info in the books, that would be
A destroyer missile battery is 25k.
Right.
Target guidance is
3,500, right? 2,500.
2,500.
So
Like
it'd
that
be
would
27. It'd be 27.5.
and you guys have more than double that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, he's gonna shill out for that as well.
All right, so 27.5.
Yep.
Mark off, which brings you down to 4.3.
Brings us down to just over 32k,
Yeah,
right?
32,022.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right, and
Ship is now equipped with a destroyer missile battery. Someone note that down. I'm gonna try and put it in my.
yep, I'm putting
There's
down
the-
all the
yeah.
purchases that I've made.
There is a handout that I don't know that we can edit.
Yeah, I
That
can
is
edit
called
that.
ship information.
Yeah, Kundalar stats.
Yeah. Or that is
Ta-da.
that is actually what it's called.
Anyways,
All
First
right,
cannon.
I have a
Make the
question.
Akundalar slightly more awesome.
I have a question.
Yes.
When Dirk left the ship, did he lock the armory?
Yes.
Pretty sure Dirk always locks the armory.
Because it wasn't set.
Dirk-
So I was.
Dirk is.
This is like
I mean, no, but I also don't say that I close every door behind me either.
It's true.
Or that he zips
Dirk
up and
is
goes
also
to the
like-
bathroom.
so. There, it wasn't said. Did Ava pray? Yes, Ava prayed. Or
That's
Lavis prayed.
that's why
Right,
I
yeah.
asked.
Dirk is dumb about a lot of things, but he's competent in the things that he. Yeah.
He's dumb about a lot of things because he's filled up his brain with all of the other things that he needs to be
No,
good
he's
I-
just.
at. He's just dumb? Okay.
That's some Mahoka logic right there.
I just had to ask.
Good thing to ask.
Yes.
How many medical support pods did you guys put on the ship?
Just one time, I believe.
I think we put one on, and I think Shauna may have upgraded it.
Yeah, it
But
can
that's
be
not
worked
in my
directly into.
info. That would have been something Oswald purchased and noted.
I will do a thing. I don't know. While I'm actually, just to rewind it slightly, while I'm on the way back to the ship, I would like to activate my telepathy and see if I can sense the minds of any other primal Zerg on Unity Station. Or if I'm
You are the only one
Okay,
at the moment.
only primal Zerg. All right. Yep, that's the only other thing that I would have wanted to do. I'm all alone.
There's no one here beside me.
Rachel's
Once we get
there.
back to the ship, Ava
My
will give
troubles
Cornick
are
some more
on my own.
thorough breakdown of her conversation with Admiral Horner.
Then why not simply utilize the full force of Project Unity to destroy
Cornick,
these
not
black
Corlash.
sites?
Oh, I thought you said Corlash. Never mind. Never
No,
mind.
Oh,
I
sorry,
didn't
what's
even
going on?
mess it up this time.
No, I just misheard it. Never mind then.
I'm all alone.
Sorry, Aaron. I was looking up something. Did you say Cornix or somebody else?
Cornix.
Sorry. I
Yeah,
wasn't paying attention.
no, she'll just tell him everything that happened with Admiral Horner.
Okay. Excellent. Sounds good. Sounds good.
And if any of you at home want to do a similar voice to Corlash, remember, drink lots of water. It's very important to keep your vocal cords healthy and not have them run screaming into the night as you try to force them to do things they're not meant to do.
So I'm really sad you don't have your alcohol bottle version of water while giving this PSA.
Stay well hydrated. Drink Smirnoff.
Stay well hydrated as you do silly voices, because remember, refreshing.
So when I get back to the ship, I'll go find Rachel and
My eye.
hand over the canister of flamer fuel. Here you go.
Thank you.
You
She
bet.
doesn't quite stop playing her ukulele.
Oh no, that's fine.
Is she like halfway through Hey Soul Sister at this point?
Hey,
She's actually
hey, hey.
yeah.
Oh my God, no, no,
Your
absolutely
lipstick
not.
stains
Stop.
on the front lobe of my left
My
side brain.
right.
I saw them in concert on my anniversary, so.
I know you did. That's why I mentioned that song.
No, he just hands up because he figures loading that stuff up in the firebat is something that Rachel will want to do on her personal time.
You make it sound almost dirty.
I mean, that is
Your
how you
personal
generally are.
time, yeah.
That is how you generally are towards that firebat armor. So
Well, I ain't had
Think
nothing
about
in
it
my
as-
life. I ain't had nothing in my life quite as nice as that in about 25 years. After I lost my favorite doll.
I mean,
Ava's
I get
impression
it.
of the UED is going from I kind of hate them to they're really, really stupid, aren't they?
Well, you don't even want to know what my impression of Ava is, so I will just not mention that at all.
Doc's not too bad.
And right before we take off, I send Oswald out for another 2,000 credit purchase. He's picking up 10 tier 2 repair kits just to have on hand.
The way you said that, you made it sound like just before we leave, I send him out and then I fly away.
And then we leave Oswald here.
None of you can fly the ship like he can.
I can
so.
fly the ship. I'm
Like
confident
you-
I
I'm really
can.
smart.
You can.
I'm not a good
Let-
pilot because I've
let-
instinct, but I'm smart.
Let Corlash try to pilot the ship. It'll be great. Everything will go
No.
Corlash was given the job of shipboard security for a very good reason.
You-
That means I can always tell him it's time to patrol again.
You,
Yes.
instinct is the skill you use to pilot, and I've got a good amount of instinct.
So do I, but I can't.
I imagine
pilot
you're
ship.
gonna need to make an alien technology roll, though.
Yep.
Just
As a
crash
side
into
note-
Unity Station.
So I'll put it in notes here somewhere. I don't know how much down Oswald is on his ammo, but that would have been covered too, so we'll deal with that.
Another
Later.
time.
You guys and your need for ammo.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of silly, isn't it?
I don't need ammo. People insist that I get armor and ammo and all these things that aren't med pack.
As I just spontaneously grow another limb. It's just... Yeah, ammo. It's weird, right?
I don't need ammo. I could probably just punch somebody with the fire bat's arms. But it's
You can
cooler
do
when
that
it's
as well,
cooler when
but
it makes
much more
fire.
effective. Yes, it is. I even Koronix agrees with Rachel on that.
Oh, number 7.
I mean, on the
You're
plus
developing
side-
a bit of a heart.
So
On the plus side, we officially have, although that was not Dirk's intent, a Corlash resolution system.
Adamantine shotguns.
Throw 4 fragmentation grenades at him at the same time.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
that-
huh.
The Hellboy 1 maneuver.
Yes.
Okay.
most things do die when you lock them in a room and throw frag grenades in there. Most.
Yeah.
Currently.
Or lock him in the room with a bunch of the breaching charges, because those are even worse.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, we've had a fun shopping episode of things that go boom.
Yes.
Rachel learned a new song on the ukulele while y'all were gone. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And she got some
It's-
ammo out of the deal.
she did. It's a great down home wall country dancing song. Circle to the left, the old brass wagon.
That's magnificent.
She will be
So-
playing nothing else for the next 8 weeks.
Dirk loves it.
So once everybody is back on the ship and everything is purchased, do we
We fly away to Meinhof.
continue to Meinhof?
I should note when Shauna Briggs and Richter return from their meeting with Admiral Horner, they come back in a dropship.
Yeah.
Do they look like they've been making out?
No.
That I'm uninterested.
So they come in a dropship. Does the dropship look like it has other people besides them two in it?
A handful.
Does the drop
Like
ship
maybe a
stay?
handful of infested Terrans.
The dropship basically parks itself along in the hangar near you guys. And stepping off of the ship are, yes, it's Shauna and Richter and about a dozen infested Terran Marines.
Rachel's gonna be
Ah.
pissed, but she will stay in her bunk playing her song.
Koronix will
To the left,
nod.
the old brass wagon. Circle to the left. Brass wagon.
As they approach Richter. Well, after a conversation with the Admiral, we've secured a little bit of transport, not only for myself and Shauna, but for any other members of Task Force Renegade, now that we have started to stretch the Akundalar, to its capacity. So this dropship will serve as transport for myself and my personal guard for the time being until we've gathered the rest of the task force. I've got a few overlords keeping an eye on the rest of the swarm, the rest of my brood right now. But these guards will be enough for a trip to Minehof, and I'll be staying in the dropship once we get there.
Very well. Once we arrive there, what are your suggestions for determining Dr. Rihanna's location on the planet's surface?
I doubt it'll be too difficult. Dr. Rihanna is one of the finest doctors the Dominion has, so look for the place where people aren't dying.
Can do.
Wow, vague much, Richter?
Typically, wherever we go, there are people dying.
Exactly.
I mean, he ain't wrong.
But no, Meinhof is still suffering a little bit. In all seriousness, Meinhof is still suffering a little bit from the aftermath of the last war. So she, she's a disaster responder at heart. She'll likely be in the thick of where people need the most attention.
Excellent. Then that is where we will go. If you're prepared, we are about ready to make the jump.
Yep.
Yes. I think we're just about set.
Splendid. And I will walk away and go tell Oswald to take off and head for Meinhof.
All right. So you guys head for Meinhof. Shauna takes the Wraith Fighter out of the hangar and pilots it alongside the dropship. There's an infested pilot manning the dropship.
Good to know that, should we need it, alternative pilots can be located.
Nope.
I mean, alternatively, I'm certain the ship could be made to pilot itself.
I ain't wrong there.
All right. So you take off to Meinhof.
Infested Akundalar.
No.
As you're leaving orbit, you notice the dropship breaks off a little bit and meets up with actually no, the military people among you obviously recognize it. One of the smaller ends of the model line, but the dropship ends up syncing up with a Minotaur class battlecruiser. Which is to say, one of the heavy vehicles. These are typically war enders. The battle cruisers are things that win fights.
Good that they're taking this with a level of dramatic seriousness.
The Unity Station.
I am uninterested in that development.
The Unity project should simply level an armada of those at the black site to rid us of this Project K.
Well, we have to find it first.
Indeed. The central issue of the black sites is not that we don't have the firepower, it's that we don't know where they are or what we might be blowing up that we don't want to blow up.
Corlash has no response.
I mean, he made a statement.
All right.
He doesn't have to end every sentence or end every conversation.
No, it's usually just after 2 seconds of silence, you're like, okay, so I'm doing.
All right. So
It's not my fault. I have slow reaction times.
a little bit later, the group of you, after about a few minutes of warp travel, because it's warp travel, you go really quick. Yes, isn't that right, Wolf? But the group of you end up. Hello. You come out of warp over the surface of Meinhof, which is. It's a dark planet. It tends to be night more often than day, just because of its rotation is relatively slow, and it has the unfortunate problem of sharing its orbit with a large number of other stellar bodies. So there's a good amount of cover from the sun. So there's only a small portion of it that's day at any one time. Most of it is night, and it also has a good amount of cloud cover. So you all pull down and land on Meinhof.
Mhm.
Word, yo.
Actually, before we land, Cornix is going to have the adjutant scan the wideband communications. Basically, any sort of extended distress or emergency zone on the planet's surface. He wants her to scan for those sort of distress calls. Basically planet-wide police scanner. Where is all the bad shit going down right now?
And as we're in, Ava will probably. Cornix, a thought. Given the particular situation of Meinhof, Corlash is likely less than welcome. I understand that he's not part of the swarm, however.
Yes, my initial thoughts, as I had stated previously, were that Corlash would most likely be remaining behind on board the Akundalar. Now,
Yeah.
should our theater of war be one of low light or evening time, he may be able to proceed undetected. We'll make that call once we find our location and land, but my initial inclination as of this point is for him to remain behind as a last-ditch emergency measure should the situation arise.
Whatever you feel is best.
From right behind Ava.
That shit just
She
ain't.
isn't like surprised or upset. She'll nod.
38 stealth.
Yes,
One of
but
these
it
days.
kind of loses its impact when the person you're talking to is crazy and you two do it constantly.
Yes, that's the problem.
But it's fun.
She's just under the assumption that they are always directly behind her, and why is that a bad thing? That's just normal for them, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the good news is you can do it to Dirk forever.
He will always jump.
Yup. The bad news is he now has grenades.
But did we find anything as far as emergency zones go? Or does Vera technically?
So Vera basically, what she finds is that this planet is basically one giant distress zone.
Okay.
Like the planet, because of its weird orbit, has a very short day-night cycle because it's whenever one of the other astral bodies moves just out of the way long enough for a bit of sun to come through, it's daytime, and
Right.
then something gets in the way or it rotates and it's nighttime again.
Right.
So there's a lot of problems that come with not only being surrounded by objects, but also having no real anticipation of day and night, barring like a 15-minute warning.
Mhm.
You know, it's like you know a couple hours ahead of time when the next day is coming. Outside of the people who are constantly watching the planets. So, for one, agriculture basically restricted to things that don't need light.
Mhm.
Water. This planet is being tidally pulled by 6 different astral bodies. So, you know, tides are a thing. The tides are kind of unpredictable. Food still in a short supply after the Zerg infestation. You know, recovery efforts are ongoing, but they're not perfect. This is basically any recovery effort that you might find on Earth, like modern days, when someone goes and is like, I'm going to go to this like third world nation and act like to try and help recovery from some natural disaster across the planet.
Okay.
Don't they also have like a really rapid day-night cycle too?
I just said that like
He
sorry.
already
Literally
yeah,
just
he-
said that.
I heard everything except that.
Yeah. They got a super fast day-night cycle because of how the orbits of the planets that they're clustered with work with blocking sunlight and the rotation of the planet. Which is funny because it was considered a paradise world originally, and then stuff happened.
And then wasn't it like the Kelmorian Combine showed up and just started screwing everybody over?
Yeah.
Oh, those were the days.
I mean, the Kelmorian Combine does that. They show up and screw people over.
Right. Yeah, pretty much.
But it was a fairly profitable mining world until the Kelmorian Combine basically happened. But you land on the planet and you get out in one of the smaller, like in one of the only cities on this planet that really has a spaceport. You get out and it looks like a shanty town. Like buildings are being put up with basically the attempt to make them last long enough to fully set, like they're like things are being set up as quick lean-tos that they hope to eventually build a full house out of. And you look up and it's a permanently foggy sky. Like there's always a little bit of light being reflected off the planets that are around the area, but there's also not enough light to consider it day ever. Yeah, so it's always that perpetual twilight, dusk, dawn situation of the sky is completely gray. Period. End of sentence.
Yeah, it can't be much of an ecosystem on a planet like that.
Nope.
Okay then. Yeah, I'm gonna have Vera go back through whatever dossiers, documentation, and medical records we have on Dr. Rihanna and try and sort of psychologically predict which of these zones would be most likely for her presence based on previous performance.
Phoenix, we could likely ask the local citizens if they know where a wandering medic is.
We could.
Indeed, we could, however.
I mean, we could do that, but yeah,
Do
might
you want to
draw
go?
a little
or-
bit of attention.
The less attention we are able to draw, the less likely it is that the Sons of Creation, who I would not say are 100% unlikely to be in this area, would be able to intercept our transmissions and possibly cause interference during this attempted rescue.
At the
Slash.
same,
Also,
at the
Sons of
same
Creation.
time, the faster we locate her.
Also,
The
the Sons of
swifter.
Creation predicted that that she would be integrating herself into the populace as a form of shielding and protection. It's possible that if we make a ruckus of looking for her, she may disappear.
But the faster we locate her, the faster we can get her off planet and away from the Sons of Creation.
This is indeed
As
true.
the populace will likely protect her from any seeking her out, especially foreigners.
Yes, finding her as quickly as possible is advisable. However, we want to utilize techniques that are most likely to be successful, not ones that will encourage her to be afraid and hide from us, even more so than she already is.
Yeah, that.
I'm real glad Rachel's not there right now because she would have just made a really sarcastic comment. But nope, she's still upstairs. Circle to the left. The old brass wagon. Circle to the left.
Would anybody care if I ate her?
Yeah.
As the medical officer, I must insist that you do not harm any member of this crew.
She is technically not a member of the crew.
She's technically not.
I must insist that anyone under my medical supervision not be harmed.
The music is annoying.
Infer from that what
The
you
music
see.
is good. I don't know what you're talking
You
about.
could just ask her to stop.
Or if,
remember, y'all.
or if you have to eat something, you could eat the ukulele.
Ukulele is bad. Has no essence. Ukulele has no essence.
Wow.
That has not stopped me before.
Oh God, I can.
That is a fantastic Corlash impression.
Ukulele has no essence.
I'll figure it out at some point.
No essence.
You have to speak from the vocal cords way back down in your throat. Almost
They're
as
all.
almost as
Either
if
way.
there's a hot rock in your
Not to the
throat.
point where my voice has dropped yet.
No, no eating.
My entire mouth and nose are just gummed with snot from allergies, so I probably
It's
Bit of
okay.
that.
I'm Carlos.
If everyone
Eat
could
the
do,
ukulele.
if everyone could do this voice, I wouldn't have much work as a voice actor. So, you know, protection.
Job security.
Uh,
Anyway.
Has no essence.
Anyway.
All right.
So yes, I'm asking Vera to basically generate a predictive model, more or less.
Well, based on what we know of her, odds are pretty good that she'll end up looking for. Well, she's a medic, so these couple of locations that I found where disease has been outbroken is probably where she's going to be most useful.
Excellent. And I'm looking for a readout.
She pulls up a screen for you,
Okay.
and there's a few locations. Various different spots across the planet have various different major issues going on, and they're ranked based on how severe, which one is the most severe in the region, and the areas where
most
disease,
severe one.
yeah,
This
they're-
is
where the areas where disease is the most prominent issue, are there's one sort of about 5 miles off on one of the smaller towns, Jonesport is about 5 miles east, and they're having an issue of fever running rampant through everyone in that small town. While Donsk is having they feel like their water supply has been tainted because people are having very bad sort of like wasting diseases, you know, so sort of the
Toxicity, exposure kind of thing.
yeah.
Okay.
And those are the nearest two on the planet at the moment.
See, this is why it's a good thing that Stefan is not with the group anymore. Because his plan would have been, why go find the medic when you can just make the medic go to where you need?
Right. Let's cause a disaster and emergency and
Nothing that
bait her
kills
in.
anyone,
It's like-
just
No.
makes them ridiculously ill and close to death.
Or just send Corlash running through the
Can
populace. Just send Corlash running through the populace, and when word gets back that there's a Zerg running loose.
Everybody on the planet shoots you at once, and then no one will come near us.
They'd have to find me first.
Which of the two is a larger urban center, Donsk or Jonesport?
Donsk.
That's where we're headed first, then.
Koronix, should I get in the truck?
Not yet. So yeah, head to Donsk and then look and see what sort of medical facilities are being primarily utilized by the general population.
Well, first off, when you exit the ship, there's a group of about probably 10, maybe a dozen Terrans that have gathered just outside of where you've landed to sort of inspect the newcomers. One of them is stepping off of a vulture bike with sort of a the badge of a town sheriff on the front of his vest.
Okay. Before we even drop the ramp, Cornix is going to gather Rachel, Dirk, Ava, and himself.
Do I know how they would respond to a Protoss here?
Roll me.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's going to be a social thing based on the population of the planet. It would be.
I was thinking more history lore, but whatever.
Lore would probably work, yeah, actually, considering.
16.
So this planet, relevant because this planet, people were coming here fleeing, Zerg invasions, and the planet they were fleeing from, the planet that people from Meinhof fled to after they left Meinhof in the face of the Zerg evacuation, they've come back since. But when they fled Meinhof from Zerg infestation, they went to another world that ended up almost being glassed by the Protoss.
I was gonna say purifiers, yeah.
The Protoss almost came and glassed the planet, but with help from Rainer's Raiders, the Protoss were fought off. You're not certain, in time since, the Protoss have offered support to the Terrans on various different planets. You don't recall if Meinhof is one of those planets that has gotten Protoss help, though. If it is, you suspect that a Protoss would be welcome. If it isn't, well, there might be some bad memories.
Cordex, just so you're aware, you might not get the best reception either, given some evacuation history and war stuff.
Oh, I will be accompanying you, but I will not be evident.
Good to know.
Yes, I have you three joining me on this mission. Ava, I would like you to take the lead as medical expert and present yourself in whatever manner you feel would best ingratiate you to the indigenous society here.
Of course.
Rachel, Dirk, your roles will be as her accompaniment / bodyguard / muscle for hire, I believe is the Terran phrase. And I will be, certainly, and I will be observing from a respectful distance.
Can I pretend to be a nurse?
Can you do that convincingly?
Kind of. I used to watch a lot
You're
of
the
med.
kind of nurse who picks up someone who's injured and gets him safely on a stretcher. not the kind of nurse that does.
That's not a nurse, that's a paramedic. Everybody knows that.
Very well, then.
Paramedics actually have training. Don't worry about being a paramedic, just be a nurse.
I mean, or you could be in your fire bat armor and be a guard like me.
That would probably be better, but...
Do I really gotta wear the fancy suit to go meet people?
If the
Yes.
people try to kill us,
It would be highly recommended.
Fine, but I'm a nurse in the fancy suit, you just can't tell.
No.
Very well.
And Ava's not gonna wear her armor.
Rachel really is already dedicated to the role.
If we had more time, I'd go fashion myself a hat out of some drawing paper.
She's already written up a whole backstory.
Yes, I was in love with a handsome doctor, and
Oh
he
god, it's
left
turned
me.
into an episode of ER.
Yes. And then my no-good cousin came in, and he was smoking in the oxygen tank room and blew it all up. It's quite dramatic. I had to rescue my lover's ex from the arms of a broken bottle of oxygen after it fell on her face.
Just be yourself. You're...
Dirk is listening just enraptured
charming
by
with
this
him.
story.
Oh,
What happened after that?
Oh, well, she moved, she got a face reconstruction, and she moved to Dallas.
Cornix is
That
going to
makes
make a
sense.
lore check to know if he knows where Dallas is.
Can I also make that lore check? I'm assuming the answer is no.
You can make a lore check. Like, especially the Terrans can make
10.
a lore check.
18.
Dallas
You have
is
no idea what Dallas is, Cornix.
I'm pretty sure Dallas is a core planet somewhere. or it might be a moon.
Ava,
It's
you're
no
pretty
more.
certain that Dallas was a major city on Earth. You just don't remember where. You think it might have been in Europe.
I assume I know what Dallas is.
You're from Earth. You
Yes.
know where Dallas is.
Yes, that's
You're
what I
from
figured.
Dallas.
I'm not
You're
from Dallas. I am
As
not
fond
from-
as I am of the Greeks, perhaps a more convincing story.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I should have said Baltimore. Roll again. Find out where Baltimore is.
Considering how far in the future this is, I'm pretty sure the DC for knowing where Baltimore is like 35.
Right?
Oh, Ava believes Baltimore is right next to Dallas. Apparently.
Okay.
You have no idea where Baltimore is. It might be right next to Dallas.
That's amazing.
I'm sorry, Russian philosophers. I was mistaken.
Oh, as Rachel and Dirk just laugh and laugh and laugh.
That just got more exciting than any story I was telling about me being a nurse. By the way, my lover, he decided he didn't want to love me after I successfully fixed his ex's face.
Of course,
He decided he'd go back to her because I made her more pretty.
that fucker.
I know, right?
Cornix,
I'm
I think
looking
we
for
will
the
get further
aliens
with
to
just
help
the two
me.
of us.
Oh, right, we were going on a mission and I closed the lid of the fireman suit.
And I hit the button that lowers the cargo bay ramp. And we go meet Mr. Sheriff.
All right.
Or Miss
So-
Sheriff. I wasn't
Ooh,
gonna
maybe I want to be a sheriff now instead of a nurse.
So
It's
as the group of you step down the ramp, the sheriff kind of steps forward. Well, looky here. Welcome to Meinhof.
He talks
hope you
like
got
he's
a
from
good
Dallas.
doctor with you because we could sure use it right about now. And that's where we're
Indeed.
going to end for tonight.
All
All
right.
right. Well, we have been Final Show Films. We produce a wide variety of content every day of the week. You can check us out on our website at finalshowfilms.com. You also check us out on our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms. You can support us financially. We do a lot of stuff, like I said a minute ago, and we appreciate all of our supporters on Patreon, especially our $25 tier supporters, Chris Comfort and Antitonic, without whom we wouldn't be able to do quite as much of the stuff that we do already. We are currently at our $100 a month tier on Patreon, which pays for separate podcast feeds, which we appreciate. Our next lowest tier is $500 a month, which is going to pay for Jack to be our secondary audio editor out of your pocket instead of mine. So if you like Jack at the very least, and you want to help him maintain a lifestyle appropriate to a person who does audio editing, then feel free to throw him a couple bucks. We'll throw us a couple bucks so we can throw him a couple bucks. We appreciate it. We also appreciate the folks over at 411mania.com. Aaron, tell us a bit about 411mania.com.
411 Mania, they have nerdy stuff like wrestling and movies and other things that are nerdy and of interest to geek people, and all of the final show film
Best
stuff.
explanation.
Insert examples of recent articles here.
TV spoilers. Other stuff.
We have everything from. I like how he thinks this is funny. No, it is. We have everything from if you want to know how bad the Mummy movie really is, or if you're interested in knowing recaps and reviews of American Gods, Fear the Walking Dead, Netflix new Glow series that comes out at the end of the month. We have all of that. We have TV, comics, movies, music, video games, MMA, wrestling, final show film stuff. Check us out. We roll.
I'm just waiting for the day when I throw it to someone else and Jeremy starts talking anyways.
I mean,
we're approaching terminal velocity on that one, I think. Yeah.
So,
You just need to throw it to me. I've memorized the pitch now.
there you go. Thank you to everyone watching on Twitch. Thank you especially to Cat Waterflame who threw some bits our way. We appreciate you.
Cat is the bitch queen.
You enunciate when
Nobody's-
you say that.
Nobody's throwing you money with an attitude like that, sir.
Enunciate when you say that.
Bits for the bits queen.
Bits queen. Bits queen.
Oh, that's what he said?
Yes, bits.
Oh.
Anyways, thank you to everybody watching on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe below. And we will see you all next time. Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.